Hello everybody, welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty. I am here today with a layout process video for you as part of the Mix It Up Monday YouTube, Instagram, and blog hop. And that hop is hosted over at the Peace Craft Love Clubhouse Facebook group. And I will link you up to all of this stuff below. And we start off with a sketch and we mix it up with some mixed media. And this is the first time I've done this hop, so I'm excited to join in and play along. Now, I've got the sketch up for you up in that corner, and we saw it just a moment ago. It had 3 square-sized photos. I'm going to shift this a little bit. I've got 2 photos, and then my third block will actually house my title. I am using my counterfeit kit for this month, and I'll link you up to that kit build video if you haven't seen it before. I am getting everything prepped here, so I'm getting my photos cut down to size, and I'm going to adhere them to the back of these square frames that I pulled out of my kit. And I haven't pulled out that third frame yet for the title yet because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. But here's where I get ready to do the mixed media, and then I do take a pause and do a few other things before I get to it. But I'm going to do some stamping directly into a gesso that I'm going to put on my background. And here's where I took a pause because I realized before I could do the mixed media, I needed to pick that third frame so I knew the sizing for where to place my mixed media. And because it's my title, I am playing around with some Vicky Boutin phrase stickers from her collection to create my title. And I go with, eventually it will say VH Life Photos. And my daughter's school has the initials VH, and so VH Life is kind of her school life and some photos from some performances that she did with her class. And then I'm ready to do the mixed media. So I've got my gesso and a big paintbrush, and I'm just striping it on lightly and feathering it out to the edges. And while it's still wet, I am using some minty ink from Concord and Ninth to stamp directly into the wet gesso. The thicker you apply your gesso, the more physical texture you'll get from doing a stamp impression into it. But my gesso was pretty thin and my stamp was also pretty thin, so I didn't get as much texture there as I wanted. But it does also slightly shift the color of ink if you're going to do it that way. So that did change it up a little bit. So it was worth doing it wet. Just clean your stamps really well after you do that. Okay, while I was talking about all that stamping and stuff, I did start pulling through my embellishments in my kit to pull in bits and pieces that I know I wanted. So the sketch has a long vertical stripe down it that looks maybe like washi tape. I'm going to replace that with some felt, some fabric ribbon, and a sticker border. So that's a few more layers of mixed media there. Oh, and I have a rubberized sticker border as well. So that's adding more layers of mixed media in place of that simple stripe in the background. The journaling is on journal strips. So here's my little tip. I have these strip dies from Gina K as part of another set, and I will temporarily tack them to a scratch piece of paper while I write my journaling, and I'm going to work back and forth with that because the strips are different sizes and I want to mix it up a little bit there. So once all of these pieces are done, I am ready to assemble. So I am getting my border stripe down there, which I had temporarily played with earlier, and now it's time to finalize everything. So I've got my cut felt there. I'm adding my fabric ribbon to that. Now I am going to add some stitching, so I am temporarily tacking all this stuff down with a couple of glue dots. I'm going to be careful to set them off to the side of my project, so I know I'm not going to hit them with my sewing machine because the needles don't really like to go through lumpy, sticky things. So I am careful about that. And here we are with the stitching zigzagged on there and done. I am ready to move on to the next step. I'm going to adhere all of my blocks down with some foam adhesive, both to accommodate the bulk of the fibers that I've added, as well as to give those photo blocks a little more emphasis on this layout. So I am being a little nitpicky about where I get those into place. Realized I needed a little bit more stamping because I had misjudged the placement of those items. And then I realized I forgot to put on that rubberized border sticker. Now, it was a little tricky to get it to get into place after the fact, but I wrangled it with my little mini tweezers, and I was satisfied with the final outcome of getting that sticker in there. So with that done, I go ahead and kind of clean up my stitching so that the leftover strings aren't too long, and I move on to other bits. From that rubberized panel, I also pulled out some other rubberized pieces. Oh, but one of the things I had added here was some rub-ons. Now these rub-ons are super old, and I realize they've lost all of their tackiness, but if I smear just a thin layer of glue onto the back of them and go ahead and give them a very light burnishing, that will restore their sticky quality, and I can lift up the carrier sheet and peel it away. And I purposefully added glue only to kind of the center area because I wanted a rougher edge around where that peeled away. Because the rest of the mixed media has kind of rougher edges to it. So I got some layers of rub-ons down. I finished up my title block. I am getting my journaling strips into place, and I have to kind of adjust some of them because there's too much at the bottom. But once I've got all those glued in place, then I can start adding on my final bits and pieces. I have some rubberized bracket pieces that I'm going to add around my journaling. I had some ticket stickers from a Simple Stories set, a little flag sticker from there, as well as some rubberized stars. And then I think I pulled out some gold stars, some gold chipboard stars as well, and then some shiny bits off of that Vicky Bouton title sheet, and a little extra glue to get things to stick to the bulky mixed media fibers. And that pretty much does it for this time. I had pulled out a bunch of extra stuff which I really didn't get to using. I do add the date here with some of these Maggie Home stickers. And what else have I got going on? Oh, in between the dates, I add some dots from the Vicky Home, the Vicky Bouton, the Vicky Bouton embellishments. Add some dots to separate out the numbers on the date on my photo. Okay, and I guess I'm still going with adding a few more bits and pieces here. I thought I was kind of done at this point, but a couple more Maggie Home stickers. I do throw on a few more flower stickers. Now that I'm remembering what I'm doing here. And then I do like to finish up kind of these central mixed media layouts with a bit of a doodled border. And I am done with this layout, happy to have played along with the hop this time around. I encourage you to check out the links to all the other creators so that you can see what everybody has going on. And if you're new here from one of the other creators' sources, welcome. I'm glad you're here. I hope you got something useful out of this video, and if you did, a thumbs up is super appreciated. And I will be back at the end of the week with my Freebie Friday video, so I'll see you then.